All right, well, welcome back to another week of e-learning here. And so we're back at my house again, and we're out in the backyard. And so we're going to talk a couple things about pouring concrete. We did some stuff with plumbing last week, and so we'll move on to some concrete. Okay, so back here you can see I have some concrete poured. This is on my back patio that they poured when we built our house. And a few things that we need to know about pouring concrete. Okay, first is the setup. So when we do this, we can't ever pour concrete right over this grass, okay? And the reason for that is the grass will decay and it'll go away, and you'll have a space between your dirt and your grass. And so if you have a space and you step on it, it'll just sink and crack. So the first thing we got to do is get off any organic material, so any grass, weeds, tree clippings, stuff like that. Once we get down to the bare dirt, a lot of times people will put sand down as the next layer, okay? The reason they put sand is that sand packs really well. It's easy to pack down, so we want to make sure we have a good firm base, and then we pack it down. Okay. Now, once we have our area, the ground set, we need to set up a barrier for it. So those are called forms. So if you were going to pour a basketball court and it was 10 foot by 10 foot, you would build a wooden box 10 feet by 10 feet, so that when we pour the concrete in there, it'll spread out and stop at the forms. So that's what the forms are for. The other thing that you often see inside of a concrete slab is either rebar, which is just metal rods, or you might see some wire mesh, which is just like a fence or gating, okay? And the purpose for that is that as the concrete expands and contracts with the heat and the cold temperatures, that the rebar or the wire kind of acts as like a skeletal system for it, so it holds it in place. So it keeps little pieces from breaking off because they're actually attached to the wires or the rebar. Okay, so we got to get a good solid base. Okay, clear off all the material, and then we need some forms to set our boundaries so the concrete knows where to stop, and then we need some rebar in there to add some strength and to hold it together. Okay, then when we actually get the cement or the concrete, concrete, when we order it, it is a mixture of cement. Cement's actually the material that binds. So we have cement, we have sand, and we have rocks. And if you have cement, sand, rocks, and add water to it, you'll get concrete. Okay, so concrete and cement are actually different things. Cement is the material that holds things together. Concrete is a mix of cement, rock, and sand. Okay, so that's important to know. How much water we mix in there is determined by how liquidy the concrete is. Okay, it flows out better when it's wetter, and then when it's drier, it goes more in clumps. Okay, and they call that a slump test. And a slump test just reveals how much moisture's in it, so it knows how solid it is. Okay, once you put the concrete down and you get it all flat, a lot of people think that concrete dries, and technically it is, I guess, drier now than it was when it was laid. But there's actually a chemical reaction happening that's hardening the concrete and making it, they call it cure. It's curing the concrete. And so although, yes, the water does go away, we're not actually just drying the concrete. We're having that chemical reaction cure it and make it solid. Okay? And after that, you take the forms up. You can move your dirt along next to it, put some grass in the yard, and then you have a back patio. Okay? So kind of short and sweet, a few things to know. Your first question number one is, what actually is concrete? What three things make up concrete? So I said in the video, there should be three different parts to concrete. Okay, minus the water. We all know there's water. There's three other parts. So concrete is made of three parts. Okay. Excuse me. And then your other question is, why can't we pour concrete just on top of grass? What would happen if we poured concrete right on top of grass? All right. And so thanks for listening to me, and hope you have a great day. And like I always say, it's always a good time.